everybody. I would like to welcome the audience of our webinar as well as all our speakers. Today, we organize the third installment of the Fimple Connects webinar series, which brings you to the world of financial technology and digital banking. My name is Marina Vanderberg. I am a proud member of the Fimple's family, and I'm happy to open today's webinar titled Do You Know Your Customer? Or KYC. At Fimple, we take on a very important role of transforming the financial world throughout our core banking platform. Going beyond the confines of traditional financial services, we provide innovative solutions aligning with the demands of the digital age. However, we don't follow this path alone. Fimple has over 170 global fintech partners and over 80 community developers. Our aim is to create a broad ecosystem. This ecosystem, called Fimple Connects, should bring together financial technology companies or fintechs. Why do we want to establish such an ecosystem? Because we believe that collaboration is the foundation of innovation. Fintech companies play a significant role in the transformation of financial services. By collaborating with our fintech partners specializing in various fields, we aim to provide better services to our customers. We hope that this webinar series will provide an opportunity to increase our mutual collaboration and by that to improve the innovation in the area of financial services. The diversity of our speakers' experiences and perspectives should enrich this series. We believe that the insights, ideas, and expertise that our speakers today will share with us will not only tell the story of their companies and their industry, but also contribute to shaping the future of the ecosystem and of the whole industry. I would also like to point out that the live broadcast of this webinar is appearing on LinkedIn and Twitter, and we encourage our audience to ask any questions about the topic. So, the purpose of this webinar is Know Your Customer. Today, we will elaborate on matters of customer acquisition and KYC in the digital banking landscape, providing insights into effective strategies, advanced technologies, and best practices to build stronger and more personalized connections with customers. Once again, welcome. And I would like to introduce the speakers of today's webinar. Goran Bosankic is the Chief Executive Officer at ABC Tech Group. Goran, do you want to say a couple of words about yourself and your group, and maybe also how your company collaborates with Fimple and its core banking platform?
Yeah, thank you, Marina. Well, basically, name and the title will be enough when it comes to me. About the company itself, the ABC Tech, we are providers of banking technology solutions, where our portfolio is quite extensive, from traditional banks up to the fintechs that you mentioned in your opening part. With our strategic, let's say, direction of providing digital banking solution. This is why we are here today, both for retail and SME segment. And like yourself, like Fimple, and the reason why we are here today, we also believe in collaboration, and this is the path to go. This is why we today partners with, let's say, industry leaders like yourself, like Fimple, Samsung here, and Fortline. And basically, for us, the future of banking lies in the digital channels. I think it became today is like a standard, not a future anymore. And I hope today we will give all the bit insight on how do we approach it, what do we think about the trends, and how do we see the symbiosis between partners in the ecosystem.
Okay, thank you very much. Our other speaker today is Serkan Ünal, who is the Head of Strategy Partnerships at Fortline. Serkan, you may also very briefly introduce yourself, your company, and why did your company decide to establish a partnership with Fimple?
Thanks, Marina, and welcome everyone to this live streaming with Fimple. Fortline provides a mix of KYC onboarding and AML compliance lifecycle solutions through technology and also services to our clients. We do that from an end-to-end perspective to these clients, but also provide more componentized solutions to our clients for highly regulated businesses such as fintechs, but also nowadays to more lesser regulated businesses that step into the arena of compliance. And we do that across Europe.
Okay, thank you.
And for us,
And
uh, yeah,
yes,
the reason
yes,
for us to connect
continue.
with Fimple, we also believe in the same strategy as Fimple has. I believe in a diverse ecosystem and building those relationships together with partners such as Fimple and ABC Tech to provide services that go beyond our own capabilities and to serve our clients better in that perspective.
That's right. And we also believe that partnerships are very important. And that's the reason of this webinar series to introduce different partners together and see how can we collaborate together in improving the industry and the platform as such.
Indeed.
And our last but not least speaker, I would like to introduce Denis Tirelli from SAMSUP. Denis, you are welcome to say a couple of words about yourself and your company and outline perspectives of your company's cooperation with Fimple and maybe other partners.
Of course, thank you, Marina, and welcome everyone for the live stream. I'm leading partnerships within UK and Europe at SumSub, and what we call SumSub is an all-in-one compliance platform that aims to secure the entire user journey, and we can support KYC, KYB, and transaction monitoring use cases along with ongoing AML and anti-fraud. We're active in more than 200 countries as a company, and we support more than 2,000 customers worldwide at the moment. We take pride in providing a flexible solution, a no-code solution that also includes a workflow builder and an orchestrator and a case management solution implemented in it. And in terms of our partnership with Fimple, of course, our aim is to serve players in the financial services space who need a powerful solution. And I think our products can come together in the best way because customers of core banking solutions are looking forward to working with a provider that provides them a regulated solution that has anti-fraud capabilities. And we want to bring these two powerful tools together to implement the smoothest user experience while ensuring compliance to our customers.
Okay, thank you very much. Just before we start with our discussion, now that our speakers have introduced themselves, I would like also to give a brief explanation what KYC is. Know Your Customer Check is the mandatory process of identifying and verifying the client's identity when opening an account and also periodically over time. KYC procedures defined by banks involve all necessary actions to ensure their customers are real and assess and monitor risks. KYC process includes ID card verification, face verification, document verification, such as utility bills as proof of address, for example, or biometric verification, etc. These client onboarding processes help prevent and identify money laundering, terrorism financing, or other illegal schemes. And banks are obliged to comply with KYC regulations. That's why it is a very important topic to discuss. And that's why we have chosen this topic as a topic of our today's webinar. Um, right. So to start our discussion, I would like to ask probably Goran to outline how the transaction to digital KYC affected the overall efficiency of the customer acquisition and the onboarding process for customers. Goran, can you elaborate
Yeah,
on that?
I can say a few words. Well, definitely did a huge change because we all know in the world of banking or finance overall, customer acquisition is the let's say the most painful part of the journey. Basically, you need to make it smooth and on one side and almost unnoticeable, and on the other side you need to comply with the regulation. For let's say for a certain period of time, where the first digital, let's say, challengers, as we like to call them before. I don't like to call them that before today, because they are not challenges anymore. They are very well established institutions. On one side, they manage to gather millions of clients through simple digital onboarding process with simple KYC procedures, where the traditional banks struggled with that part. Still, for them, primary channel was the branch, and the whole KYC industry went through the process where they are today, where they're enabling all the players on the market to have a very effective onboarding process. When you combine it with, let's say, high quality digital banking solutions like one that we are giving. I always like to say to my customers that with digital channel we are basically leveling the play field between the fintechs and the small banks and the larger banks, because when you end up on somebody's palm, you are the same. It's only up to the quality of the solution. And when we talk about the customer acquisition, it's all about the customer journey and the seamless experience. If you complicate the process, if it's not simple enough, customer will not go through it, and you will not get that customer that easy. And with that, let's say, it also brings reduced costs when we talk about the customer acquisition. So if we talk about the KYC today in digital onboarding, I don't see it as an alternative way of acquiring customers, both for traditional banks. I think it became primary way how to get them, and with the regulations that are changing in the last months or year, I think we are going to see more and more traditional banks switching to this as a primary way of acquiring customers, and simply catching up with the fintechs which are doing it for years.
Right. Okay, Goran, thank you very much. I totally agree with you that if you overcomplicate the process, then the customers may not be interested in continuing with this bank. And therefore, KYC process is an important part in the digital banking. In this respect, maybe Serkan, you can elaborate what are the key challenges faced by banks in ensuring a smooth and swift digital KYC process?
Yeah, thanks. This is actually continuing on what Goran already said. I think it's a great question. Yeah, we've seen a lot in the last 20 years when it is about the consumerization of services, whether it was in the travel business, transportation, entertainment business, and of course in our domain, the financial service sector. That changed in particular over the last 10 years. With established banks, it was a bit slower because they had a slew of legacy systems that they're trying to replace. It's kind of doing an open heart surgery, so it's a big challenge for them. But in that same mix, we've seen also the wave of new fintechs and neos approaching the market and stepping into the arena. And they've all implemented their own way and their approach with point solutions or proprietary built in-house solutions. That, of course, provides a lot of flexibility and slick digital onboarding journeys. However, at some point in time, that also leads into challenges, meaning like the branching that Goran already explained. Per country, the regulations are different. So the need for a single point solution to be integrated and having an API for all the needs across Europe is also increasing. And also the fraud cases are changing day by day. So you need to combat these in a more efficient way. And the fraud cases are getting more advanced. So you need to be ready for that. Also the need for end-to-end conversion in that whole journey. If there is one single break, you will lose the customer. So you need to have a slick onboarding journey. And the lowering the cost down to have operational efficiency is also a crucial thing, because the cost to revenue is also something that is very important for the FIs these days. So it's not just getting the lot of customers in. How do you increase the the cost, sorry, decrease the cost over those customers as well. So, as an example, we have helped N26 to scale across Europe. They started in Germany, and with partnering with Fortline, we helped them onboard customers across Europe. And another example is also recently where we partnered up with Fimple. So we as Fortline work with the larger fintechs, trade brokers, and neos across Europe, and we see still that many existing customers have these challenges. So that's also ultimately where we're here for to help out.
All right. Thank you very much, Serkan. I liked your comparison of the transformation process with the open heart surgery. I think it's quite effective. And in this respect, indeed, customer experience is a very important topic. So, Dennis, maybe you can explain how does the KYC process impact customer satisfaction and their overall experience, definitely in the digital banking.
Yeah, thank you, Marina. The other day, I was reading about a McKinsey research, and it says that a well-managed KYC increases the customer satisfaction score by up to 30%. So it's very obvious that it's quite very critical in the user journey. Well, first of all, the very first advantage is that it brings high efficiency. I mean, it enhances the customer's trust. It ensures a safe sign-up environment for them. It's faster and more accurate than the traditional methods, and it saves a lot of time for us customers. And if you can manage the KYC process in an efficient way, you're also able to personalize the banking experience because you know the risk level of your customers, their different behavior, this will also reduce the customer effort. We won't even feel anything. Uh, it will in the end enhance customer satisfaction and experience, and in today's digital world we are all expecting B2C like experiences with when it comes to speed and when it comes to convenience. We want reduced wait times, and we want to access services like account opening or loan processing as soon as possible. There are also some ongoing benefits. Well, if you have a continuous KYC process implemented, not just a point solution, but a solution that enables you to know your customer after the time of onboarding, then this will keep your customer data up to date. So you don't have to, re-verify your customers and update your records. You will always have up-to-date customer records. This will prevent repetitive verification, and again, in the end, will personalize the product offerings. But maybe like connecting to the two topics, there are also some drawbacks. So you have to make sure that you're working with a trusted provider, because there's always a dilemma about prioritizing speed over quality. And if you prioritize speed, then there's a risk of increased fraud. But on the other hand, if you're too focused on fraud, you may become over compliant and increase the loan verification times. This may lead customers to choose some alternatives. Or if you don't implement a false positive check basically to your AML screening solution, this may need to lead to high false positives, high false negatives, which will block the users, the honest users, or could allow fraudsters in the system. So you really have to work with a trusted provider that knows what they're doing, because you cannot jeopardize the customer relationship, basically.
That's right. I absolutely agree that the trusted provider is very important, I think, for all customers. And indeed, it is a very important topic. And that's why we are working on our platform and then work in collaboration with you guys that that the customers of our clients indeed understand that they are working in a trustworthy environment and can trust their providers, their banks, their financial institutions that where they put their money for saving or using, and it's a very important topic for the public. And to elaborate on that, Serkan, I will ask you now to explain more. Maybe how what is your position? How can personalized experiences be offered to customers in the digital banking? Serkan?
Oh, yeah, I thought that was for Goran, but I'm happy to elaborate on that as well. So within
Okay.
digital banking side, then please chime in, Goran. You're the expert in this.
I can help you out on that. No worries, no worries.
But
Sorry.
in digital banking, it's the whole process from attracting the user by ads and also having them, let's say, download your application in a simple way, having that whole journey orchestrated in a way that it's seamless for the user without them having to step out of the process, and then having them onboarded and immediately being able to be in that banking application is critical. And I think Goran has a great example with Fortline, where they have embedded Fortline with the API to be able to, let's say, help the customer onboarding in that journey with digital banking.
Right. Sorry, Serkan, that I have probably uh, yeah introduced you
No, no,
in
it's
the wrong moment. But Goran, now can you elaborate on that as well then?
yeah, yeah. So second did a good start actually. Yeah, well,
Yes,
basically when we
that's
talk
perfect.
about the digital channels today, and we provide mobile and internet banking, but let's say the mobile channel is the one that is prevailing when we talk about this. First part, the KYC, the onboarding process, you are giving your confidential personal information on that journey, your documents, all the info that is required for that. And when you are using the today user of mobile banking application is much more different compared to a few years ago, when it was just give me the overview of the accounts to see how much money I have and some information. Today they are really looking for a personalized experience. So you can see this in our solution, you can see this in all those, let's say, digital banking apps, starting from small things like having a profile picture, having your name being written on the screen as soon as you entered the first time in the application, up to customizing how the application look, filtering what you want to see, the products that you want to use through that. So it has a huge impact on the customer perspective when we talk and perception when we talk about this experience, because as I said, is becoming main channel for the not necessarily banking but all financial interaction overall. And yeah, having this personal touch is important. You need to differentiate today on the market with something. Yeah.
Right. Goran, we are losing you sometimes when you are talking. So, but
Sorry, I
by
don't know if you managed
that,
to hear everything
that
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 I said. Yeah.
that underlines the importance of the technology in our modern life, and also in digital banking, definitely. And with the technology comes a question of security. So, and now I will ask Serkan again, how is the security ensured in digital banking? And how can the technologies like biometrics or artificial intelligence be integrated into the KYC process?
Yes, I can
Serkan.
elaborate. Thanks, Marine. So, security is key in ensuring the trust between the consumer and the financial institution, obviously. And no one would like to have their personalized information out in the World Wide Web, or even their account being taken over and they lose their funds, or even being risked of being used in money laundering activities, which is really not nice if you're, let's say, sanctioned at any point in time. And of course, there are many ways of securing that. It can be with simple methods like two-factor authentication. It can be with adding different layers of screening software based on your mobile app. However, we believe as a compliancy expert in this field is that FI should also build in measures for fraud and compliance in their applications. that you can always trigger authentication with the user by, for instance, asking the user to apply a selfie or a self liveness, or even by checking by the location where the person is, where they're in their whereabouts, where they're doing the transaction. So these measures can be built in that whole process and also in the lifetime of the customer. And I also think that AI is a great use of technology in this whole KYC world. We're applying that ourselves as Fortline. We're automating a lot of these decisions for the analysts to be able to make it easy to onboard a customer. And we also believe that AI should always be in combination with the human touch. So the automation should not lead in excluding people from the financial system, but actually helping the analysts to make decisions properly. And those combinations would work effectively, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, indeed, security is a very important topic, and talking about automation and security, how it's important. I would like to move to the risk management procedures and ask Denise, what risks do you see are associated with digital KYC, and how are they mitigated? Can you explain that to us, please?
Of course, thank you, Marina. Of course, like when you move to a digital KYC experience, you're not meeting anyone face to face. So the very first risk that comes to mind is the fraud risk. Because like people are getting more sophisticated, they're spoofing the system quite easily. So you have to have a future-proof solution that is ahead of the fraudsters. So we're seeing many different fraud attempts as sums up. Such as creation of fake IDs. Fraudsters are using counterfeit, altered identification documents to create accounts illegitimately. They're using stolen documents or forging documents, or they have some unauthorized access to someone else's identity documents. They're using AI powered fraud, which is called the deepfake technology. So they're using sophisticated AI techniques such as deepfakes. And we've seen that this is picking up. Especially in countries like Germany, UK, and Spain in Europe. We see money muling activities where other individuals are used to transfer illicitly obtained monies under disguise, or forced verification. So you have to be aware of these type of verifications, and to mitigate that, you need to implement an enhanced document verification technology for detecting fake IDs, for example. And in a way, you also have to cross-reference the data you get with various databases to detect and prevent the use of fake IDs. You have to have a future-proof biometric authentication method, continuous monitoring of accounts for unusual activities, so that you identify and prevent the use of stolen documents, for example. And then again, advanced AI detection tools are necessary to detect AI powered fraud. So you have to have a solution that can differentiate between real and AI generated images and videos. At SumSub, we have this product called AI Lab, where we can detect deepfake technologies, where we can also understand whether a document photo is photoshopped from different layers that are attached to the document. So we can also detect the IP address and different information that is attached to the document photo. We also use geolocation to detect anti-fraud fraud networks of individuals. And of course, like besides fraud, there are other risks as well. This can be a risk related to non-compliance. So financial services companies face strict anti-money laundering requirements, and non-compliance can result in severe sanctions. At SumSub, we have an in-house legal and compliance team who provides 4-hour quality control review to cases, who support with business verification processes, but also that serve as a consultative partner to our customers in navigating different local laws and regulations, and how to ensure that while you have an ambitious go-to-market plan, how can you stay compliant in each country that you operate at, and how can you implement locally compliant flows that the users are also familiar with. So the best customer experience together with the right solution.
All right. So Denise has already started to cover the topic of compliance and regulations, and I would like to ask Serkan to elaborate more on that. What legal regulations govern KYC in digital banking, and what are the global best practices? Maybe you can outline more to
Yeah,
our viewers.
happy to do so, Marina. Well, actually, that's a really hard nut to crack. We all know that EU-wide directives such as AML5 and AML6 and soon AML7 provide that framework for those local regulators, whether it's the FCA, DNB, CEPLAC, or BaFin, to implement these locally and also govern them with the FIs that are playing in these fields. And each regulator has built in these measures how to want to implement them. Some are very strict, such as the BaFin. Some are lesser strict. And yeah, you need to be an expert in compliance if you're a FI operating across Europe to be able to infuse that also in your own tech stack. And actually, that's part of Fortline's DNA. We found the sweet spot when it comes to building the compliancy internally within Fortline, also helping our FI partners in that, but also having the let's say the comprehensiveness to make customer onboarding swift, and also applying that in the conversion rates that we see at our customers. To put it more in context, as a best practice, what we've seen, we blend our own compliance expertise. We're a regulated financial institution ourselves, and we have those expert teams in-house that tackle fraud day by day in our operations. Some of our customers outsource their operations to us. There's no partner out there that can do that much faster than us. And also the technology that we've built is all proprietary in-house. So we're not relying on any third parties. So that also enables us in our roadmap to fit the client challenges that are changing day by day, so that we can deliver on those roadmap items, but also on the market needs that are changing also by the regulation. So we see that as a best practice to find that balance.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we move further to the next question, I would like to remind to our audience that this webinar is now being recorded, and you will be able to revisit it after we have done with this broadcast. Now I would like to move our discussion to the future trends in this topic, in this area. And Goran, that will be probably a question to you. What are the latest trends and differences between the traditional and digital banking? Can you elaborate on that, please?
We don't have enough time to to go over all of them. But as many of you know, the let's say the hottest topic definitely is what we call embedded finance today, which is something that basically I like to say goes both ways. One way is that let's say non-banking, non-financial institutions are introducing financial services to their customers, and of course in that process they require KYC, which is mandatory to have a compliant customer onboarding. But also we see, especially with the digital banks, that they are introducing more and more, let's say, like third-party services and products being distributed through their mobile and digital banking apps. As I said, of course, the let's say those challenger, those new digital only banks are at the forefront of that, but also the traditional banks are catching up and partnering more and more with services that 5 6 years ago was completely, unimaginable for them to offer through the channels. So today, through mobile banking app, you can, buy insurance, you can buy travel tickets, you can pay parking, play games, and whatever. So this is something definitely that's growing more and more. And of course, with traditional banks, they are moving more and more. We mentioned at the beginning the challenge of legacy that the traditional banks have with their infrastructure and technology. They are overcoming that more and more, and offering automated process for the standard products, like Serkan mentioned before, loans and deposits and savings. They're trying to introduce this through digital only platform, enabling their customers to have easy access to all of those products, and in that process, slightly moving them towards the digital platform, because they understand that, with time it's becoming the primary channel for entire sales of whatever they are selling to their customers. And as I said at the beginning, this blend of financial and non-financial is the biggest trend currently happening with both fintechs and traditional banks.
Right. Okay, thank you very much, Goran. And I will ask probably Dennis also to outline what future innovations do you anticipate and how this might shape the banking industry, you think? Can you please
Yeah.
outline that to us?
Thank you, Marina. I think one of the first innovations that I'm forecasting is the increased integration of AI and machine learning for the onboarding journey, but also after the time of onboarding, and using AI and machine learning for continuous monitoring and advanced analytics as well. And this will pave way to more enhanced risk assessments, anomaly detection in the verification process, recognizing different fraud incidents after the time of onboarding, and maybe linking different users between each other as well. And this will lead to a more accurate and efficient fraud detection. And we're also seeing that regulators are endorsing this as well. Different non-document verification methods are emerging, especially in emerging markets where the document quality is very poor and the fraud risk is quite high. Development of alternative verification methods is working really well. As I said, especially in the underbanked populations. So this will reduce the reliance on traditional methods such as document-based verification. So we will like just ask users to provide certain identity data, and at some sub we are able to check that across different databases, and then we authenticate the users with a simple biometric check, or we can leverage open banking as well. Or in the Netherlands, for example, we have IDIN, so the people can log into their bank account, can agree to share their bank account information, and can be easily verified through that method as well. And I think that re-verification, periodic updating of customer KYC information is very critical, and it will ensure ongoing accuracy of verification. And also another solution that we are offering at SumSub is the reusable KYC through secure partner networks. So agreeing to share KYC, customers agreeing to share their KYC data across different trusted partners network, so that we reduce the need for customers to undergo a repeated KYC process. And in the future, I think the rollout is going to take some time, but digital wallets in EU will eventually be introduced. And of course, moving away from point solutions in KYC, and having an orchestration shift and providing all of the compliance tools under one platform to provide a more comprehensive overview of users is going to become more and more critical.
Okay. Thank you very much, Denise. I think it is quite important and actually interesting the possibility to reduce the KYC procedures between different trusted partners, that indeed the customers don't have to provide their identification and go through all the steps of the KYC process with every bank or financial institution or another institution that they go through, that it's possible to use verification process from other institutions when they have done it already. And in this respect, I would like to ask Serkan, are there any innovative approaches or technologies on the horizon that could revolutionize the digital KYC landscape? What do you think now?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, technology has really evolved over the last 10 years. Automation rates, AI, already implemented by many companies. I think that the next wave will be more on the generative AI, that AI will suggest what the next base action will be. And I see that being supported in the KYC process on two ends, one for the analyst coming up with suggestions how to process cases, but also on the other hand, on the onboarding journey itself to help provide guidance to the user that is onboarding. So I think on those both ends, generative AI will definitely take a more prominent role. And already mentioned by Denise, we will see a slew of more digital identity wallets. We as Fortline are GDPR compliant. We're also building our own fraud database for reusable KYC across our business partners. But we also believe that there will be many technologies that are providing that, and that it will be a combination of both roles by um, empowering the user to provide the data that they want to any service provider that they want to onboard with, whether it's a financial institution or not. And on the other hand, to bring those capabilities to the FI to comply with the regulatory frameworks so that they embed those capabilities in their own application. And I don't believe that there will be one ring to rule them all, as they say in the world of Lord of the Rings, but there will be a combination of both ends.
Okay, very good. Um, Denise, then maybe you can explain what strategies can be adopted to make the digital KYC process more user-friendly and seamless for the customers. Just
Of course,
outline some information about that.
of course, happy to. I think the right biometric verification and a strong facial recognition tool is very critical, and it's becoming a dominant method in digital KYC. It offers speed, it offers accuracy, but it's also very helpful in authentication use cases. And I think in the future, we have to ensure that we give the customers the full control over their personal information via blockchain powered KYC. So this is, I think, getting a lot of traction recently. I think what's also more important is that we leverage AI, as Sarkan said, for enhanced and improved risk assessment. You can automate document analysis based on that. You can recognize different patterns, and you can perform KYC checks more rapidly and more accurately. So using AI to detect fraud patterns and maybe also implementing that to your transaction monitoring tool and event monitoring tool so that you have an event monitoring system for the time of KYC so that it's automatically change the risk level of the user so that it scrutinizes the flow for risky users and makes the flow more efficient to secure users is going to become very critical. So that if I'm a very honest user, I can go through a flow that takes about 4 seconds, while the high risk customer maybe asks for additional checks, additional documents, so that the flow is going to be more scrutinized for them. So I think there has to be a risk-based approach at every step throughout the KYC experience.
It is indeed very interesting and an important topic for in the modern digital era. Goran, I will ask you to give maybe some examples of successful or unsuccessful digital banking applications and the lessons that could be learned from that.
You mean KYC in the digital banking application?
Yeah, of course.
Each one that we did is successful.
Then we
Yeah,
will never
well,
finish.
yeah. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning, the process, and Denise and Serkan also said, process of KYC is really evolving through the last years, and we who are providing the digital banking solutions are, let's say, on the worst end of the scale, because the perception comes from the solution that we are providing to the customers. So when they take the mobile bank, whether it is onboarding or the experience overall in the app, which is connecting to several third parties, they don't care. They see our application, and for them, our application is the one that is not working or having this cumbersome process. And one of the, let's say, and most of our clients are in the EU, which, as you know, has, like Denise said, heavy regulations, and hopefully some things are changing with this unique identity. But one of the biggest hurdles that we had before in convincing our customers, let's say the traditional banks, to start with the KYC in many countries was demand for the video identification. And that turned out to be, in most cases, what you said, like a fail when we talk about the implementation. Because on paper, it was like you go to the process, you have a simple short video discussion, and then you go through. But in practice, most of the times it was, without any wrapping up, it was a terrible experience, because it was provided by some third party providers that were, even in some cases, giving this service to multiple clients. So you would have a situation that we heard from our clients, like customer would go to the onboarding, started the video identification process, and the lady from the other side would ask, okay, for whom you are onboarding right now. She needed to check because she was doing simultaneously for multiple banks, institution, whatever. And that caused, and on top of that, you had like a waiting line for that of 10 to 20 minutes, which in today world, it's like, no go. And this was really, it was digital on paper, but it was really a terrible process. And today, like Denise said, we have this very advanced facial recognition, liveness tests. The legislation change, they allow this advanced methods to be used for verifying the identity, and this is much more simple and much more customer, let's say, customer friendly, and the process is very fast. And I think we will see more and more, let's say, successful implementation of that. When we talk about successful and unsuccessful, I mentioned before one case. We cannot disregard the regulation also. The European market is heavily regulated. And we see one example from last week. One large bank in Italy, one of the largest bank in Europe, they have a digital bank also, and they simply plan to move few millions of their customers that they've selected to this digital platform. Like, okay, you are not in this bank, you are now in the other bank. And the regulator pulled the plug on that, saying you cannot do that. You need to first have the explicit acceptance from that. So there is still some things that needs to be solved and addressed in the future. This is, one of the first examples, and of that regulation needs to look closely on what is happening, because everything is moving to this digital channel. and this customer onboarding, and like Denise and Serkan said, not only this first part, but this follow up afterwards. The AML, constant checking of the data of the customers that are onboarded. As the technology advanced, you need to go back and perhaps something that was considered to be correct with new technology, you establish that it was perhaps a fake or something like that, and you need to follow up through the life cycle customers on the platform that are coming after that, and you need to have them in line with the legal framework and the regulations that are happening today. So yeah, as I said, this was, let's say, if I have to say something, that video KYC for me was the biggest blunt in the onboarding process. And when we talk about successful, I mean, look at any of the digital bank today that is active, how fast they are acquiring the customers, how simple they acquire them, and how cheap at the end compared to traditional customer acquisition.
Okay, very good. I don't know, Denise or Serkan, do you want maybe add some stories of successful or unsuccessful KYC applications in digital banking experience of your companies? Please feel free to elaborate on those as well.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about the difference between adopting a point solution and a correct full compliance tool. So if you have a digital user experience, but everything at the back end and all of the processes that you have are manual, if your reporting is done manually, if your case review is done manually, and if you still employ that same number of compliance team on the back end, do you benefit from the digital banking experience enough? And can you compete with the full digital players of the industry at the moment? I don't think so. So it's really has to be counted that the solution provided has to cover the full life cycle with different technologies that can continuously update the customer files. And it has to be from very digital from the beginning till the end. So otherwise, I don't think that the benefit of digital KYC is achieved. And I think Goran's example of video identification was also very interesting. I've heard a story where one of the customers of SumSub was having a difficulty with their former video KYC provider because they simply didn't inform them that they had to be alone at the time of onboarding. So we are always like surrounded with people that I want. So they couldn't continue the verification process until they just move to a room where they can be alone. And then also with video identification, your internet connection has to be very stable. And there are also some language challenges that you have to bypass. So it is all in all a very difficult process to tackle, while you can have like different fully digital processes that are also counted as compliant in countries like Germany, where instead of like video identification you can do a full digital onboarding and then with a qualified electronic signature and a reference payment solution. Still some customers prefer a video KYC from time to time. So we also support that as an alternative method. But how we tackle this is that we do this 24/7. We ensure that our agents can speak all of the possible languages, and all the trainings are done accordingly. So we always aim to maintain a wait time less than 1 minute. So if you're going to do it, just make sure that the quality is right. This is what I'm going to add on top of that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much, Denise. And maybe Serkan, do you want to finalize your
a lot has been said already by Goran and by Denise. I think having, let's say, a well orchestrated process in terms of, let's say, data in silos, I think we all stand behind it. Or the video ident case and providing a slick digital onboarding journey. What I think, which we see in the world of KYC and compliance, and more over the last 2 years, is that yeah, we have been providing our service from an end-to-end perspective all time. But we now recently also see that our clients come from, let's say, a regulated entity, and they want to solve a particular issue. And we have this approach where we can, let's say, compartmentalize that and solve that issue, and then help them beyond the challenges they have on the longer end, without having them to go through a whole replacement of their whole platform. So they have not implemented those point solutions anyway. So we can help them by, let's say, those smaller challenges, and then help them expand with their KYC. And that's what we've seen, for instance, with ScalaPay. Earlier this year, they have selected us for screening, and now they're taking more parts of our platform. And also, what I explained earlier, from bank grade solutions to lesser bank grade. Yeah, by providing Lego blocks to click on that specific use case is going to be critical. I think that's also a best practice that we've seen.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very interesting. I think everybody, I would like to thank all the participants. At the moment, we are coming to the end of our timing for this webinar. I would like to remind the audience that the webinar is recorded, and those who were too late or were not able to see it will be able to revisit it after we have done our broadcast now. Um, I would like to thank our audience as well for participating, and I hope that the topic of this webinar was equally important for the participants and the audience, as well as for the our Fimple company. And the aim of our webinar series is to create an ecosystem of different partners, solution partners, who can provide the best possible fintech solutions to the customers in the financial services. And we hope to achieve it together, and we hope that it will be very successful. So everybody, thank you very much. For those people who we will not see anymore until the year end, I wish you the successful year end. It is always very difficult in the financial industry, and actually in all industries, I suppose, who use the calendar year. And so success in the end of December, and good start for the next year. And I would like to remind everybody that we will continue our webinar series. Perhaps today was not everything seamless and so easygoing, but we will do our best to improve. And I hope that somewhere in the end of January, we will have another series of our webinar. And I encourage our audience also to send the topics that people have want to discuss, and maybe our speakers also, if they want to discuss something in the next webinar series, then you are welcome to suggest. We will do our best to prepare for the next session. Okay, thank you very much, and bye bye, everybody.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Bye bye.
Everyone.
It was a